If you've got a coarse, fast-growing grass pushing up through your lawn, taller and a bit bluer green than everything around it, and it keeps coming back through the same area no matter how many times you pull it, that's very likely quackgrass. And if pulling it has felt like a losing battle, that's because it is one, at least the way most people go about it. There's a specific reason quackgrass beats you, and once you understand it, everything about how you handle it changes. By the time we're done here, you'll know why it keeps coming back and how to actually get rid of it without destroying your lawn in the process. Quackgrass is a perennial, and that's the first thing to understand because it changes everything. A lot of the grassy weeds people worry about, like crabgrass, are annuals. They die every winter and come back from seed alone, which means you can stop them before the seed ever sprouts. Quackgrass doesn't work that way. It lives through the winter underground and comes back from its own roots year after year, the same plant returning to the same spot. So nothing you do to stop a seed will ever touch it. If you've pulled the same patch of grass from the same place for 3 summers running and it always comes back stronger, you're almost certainly dealing with quackgrass, not crabgrass. But the real reason it defeats people is underground, and this is the part almost nobody explains. Quackgrass spreads by rhizomes, which are long, tough, whitish roots that run sideways through the soil, sometimes a foot or more out from the plant you can see. Those rhizomes are sharp enough to punch right through other roots, and every few inches along them there's a joint, a node, and every single node can sprout a brand new plant. So the patch you see on the surface is connected underground to a whole network you can't see. And that's exactly why pulling makes it worse. When you grab quackgrass and pull, the top breaks away in your hand, but the rhizomes stay in the ground, and worse, they often snap into pieces as you tug. Here's the cruel part. Every broken piece of rhizome that has even one node on it can grow into a new plant. So when you rip out a handful and feel like you've done something, what you've actually done is chop the underground network into a dozen fresh starts. Where you had one patch, now you've seeded several. I've watched people pull quackgrass all summer faithfully and end up with far more than they began with, and every one of them thought they just weren't being thorough enough. The thoroughness was the problem. You can't beat quackgrass by breaking it into pieces. So the question was never, how do I pull this weed? The question is, how do I remove the entire rhizome network or kill it without shredding it into new plants and without wiping out the good lawn around it? Once you're asking that, you're finally fighting it the right way. Let me walk you through what actually works, because there's real hope here. It just takes a different approach than you'd expect. If the patch is small and you've caught it early, you can dig it out, but you have to do it patiently and completely. You take a garden fork, not a spade, because a spade slices the rhizomes and a fork lifts them. You loosen the soil in a wide area around the whole patch, wider than you think you need, and you gently lift the soil and tease out every one of those long white roots by hand, following each one to its end. You're not weeding, you're excavating a root system. Do it after a good rain when the soil is soft and the rhizomes slide out more willingly, and get every fragment you can find, because anything you leave behind is a plant you'll see again. This works, but only on a small, young patch, and only if you're truly thorough. Once quackgrass has spread through a large part of your lawn, digging becomes hopeless, and here's the hard truth most people don't want to hear. There is no selective spray for this one. With some weeds, you can buy a herbicide that kills the weed and leaves your good grass standing. Quackgrass is a grass itself so close to your lawn grass that anything strong enough to kill it will kill your turf too. That's the whole reason the promise of getting rid of it without killing your lawn is so tricky, and why so many products disappoint you. Nothing you spray over the top will take out the quackgrass and spare the grass around it. So for a bad infestation, the honest method is spot treatment and starting over. You use a non-selective herbicide. the kind with glyphosate that kills anything green, and you paint or spray it only on the quackgrass, accepting that you'll kill a small area of good grass around it too. It moves down into those rhizomes and takes out the network, which hand pulling never does. Then you wait, because quackgrass often needs a second treatment when survivors push up from deep rhizomes a few weeks later. Once it's truly dead, you rake out the debris and you reseed or lay new sod over the bare patch. And read the label before you mix a drop, because it tells you exactly how much to use and what to wear, and those numbers protect you, your lawn, and your pets. Now here's the part that actually keeps it gone. Quackgrass, like most weeds, moves into weakness. It takes hold fastest where the lawn is thin, where the soil is bare, where the good grass isn't strong enough to crowd it out. The single best long-term defense you have is a thick, dense, healthy lawn, mowed a little tall so it shades the soil, watered deeply so the grass roots run deep, and overseeded wherever it's thin so there's simply no open ground for a rhizome to colonize. You won't out-thicken an established infestation. That still needs the spot treatment, but once you've cleared it, a strong lawn is what stops it from ever getting a foothold again. So here's the whole picture. Quackgrass is a perennial that spreads by underground rhizomes, which is why pulling it snaps it into new plants and makes it worse. You beat it by forking out young patches whole, rhizomes and all, or by spot treating a bad infestation with a non-selective killer and reseeding, since no spray can kill it and spare your lawn. And you keep it gone by growing a lawn thick enough to leave it no room, remove what's rooted, kill what's networked, and crowd out what's left. Do all three, and you finally stop fighting the same patch every single summer. If quackgrass has taken over part of your yard, or you've found something that finally worked, tell me down in the comments. This is one of the toughest weeds there is, and everybody who's fought it has a story.